One day I was sitting there and Rebecca's got her gumboots on and she said, "I can run real good now, Dad, I'll show you." So she'd run about 1.5 km down to the front gate of their place and then turn around and run all the way back in the gumboots, and she looked like Cliffy Young. And she got back and I said, "Mum, come and look at this, Rebecca can run to the gate and back." I said, "You better show Mum." So away she went again. So she'd run 2.5 k's virtually. But she was very funny. And virtually everything was going along smoothly until Rebecca had her seizure in January of
2005.
Yeah.
She went to bed on the 10th of January 2005. Probably she used to take herself off to bed when she got tired, and that was fine. We went in and checked her about 11 o'clock and she was sound asleep. And during the night, Rebecca suffered a seizure. Now the seizure, we don't know what time it started, but the seizure never stopped. So she was fitting for, they said it could have been up to 5 or 6 hours. They weren't sure. But when we found her the next morning, still fitting, it had done irreparable damage. We went from having an active little girl one day to severely brain damaged the next.
We spent some 9 months in Canberra Hospital with Rebecca. She went from being in the ICU, having a lot of problems still with epileptic fits and things like that. And they put her on several different drugs, and she became the 15th person in the world known to be allergic to Tegretol. It burnt her from the inside out. But the biggest thing from that, it gave her liver failure. Virtually they said, you better say goodbye, Rebecca won't survive that, she needs a liver transplant. She can't have a liver transplant because she's got brain damage, there's nothing we can do. So they give her a whole heap of steroids, and a day and a half, 2 days later, the liver started to come back. And we spent every day at the hospital with Rebecca for that whole 9 months. She didn't leave our side.
When we spoke to her, she didn't look at us. There was just nothing there. And we were doing everything we possibly could to try and stimulate. And this one particular day, we were both there giving her a bed bath, and then Chris decided to blow a raspberry on her belly. And we got a little chuckle. When we called out to the nurses and doctors, and they all came running and thinking something was wrong, and they were all around the bed, and Chris did it again, well, there were tears. It was just such an emotional event and it was the turning point.
It was a slow trip. We didn't have much to start with from Rebecca. She'd just lay there and she'd look at you.
There was no responses whatsoever.
And then over the period of time, little bits come back, whereas we are today, she knows exactly what's happening around her. And
when you leave school, you have all the agencies come in and they tell you what they've got to offer and all that sort of thing. And I'll never forget Ali saying, "Don't tell us when you're coming, just turn up." And it just kind of stayed with us. We went to Centacare and we were welcomed with open arms, and we had no appointment, no nothing, we just rocked in, and it was like, oh, old friends. It was just really good. And we walked in and everybody was just, it had a buzz about it.
I was a parent of, my son had cerebral palsy, and he came to this centre for 10 years. He passed away 5 years ago, and I just wanted to become a support worker and give back to the parents and to the clients, because I know exactly what the parents go through, and yeah, it's just very special.
We have a lot of our staff who may have children with disabilities or have had children or family members with disabilities. Julie was a prime example. Julie was the mum of a son, adult son with very, very high support needs, probably similar to Beck. He was a beautiful young man, young man, and sadly he passed away several years ago. And at that point, Julie came to see me and said, I think I want to work in this industry.
She's more like a family friend looking after Rebecca. And having gone through a tragedy, the love that she has, it's just like Beck's got a second mum.
It's one big family. Centacare is one big family, and it feels that way, and you're made to feel that way by the way they treat you and the way everyone is.
We didn't actually have a vehicle with a wheelchair hoist. We were unable to take Beck out into the community. There were times where we'd use the wheelchair taxi, but given the expense and the limitations on how far you can go and cost, Beck was pretty limited to just sticking around town.
There's about, I think it's about 4 or 5 wheelchairs up there now, and to have a wheelchair bus would benefit them so, they can join into the others when they go out for travel, for down to the beach, or they go to the movies or anything like that.
So we put together a funding proposal, but it was knocked back.
I wrote a letter to the boss of Centacare, to Tony. I wrote him a letter just explaining that our wishes, that we'd really love Rebecca to get out more, and he responded. I dropped the letter off in the morning. Tony rang in the afternoon to say that they had spoken to Toyota and that they were getting a wheelchair bus and it was being ordered. And we now have a wheelchair bus which takes 2 wheelchairs. So I can't rave over them enough. Their response to a need of a parent for their child was just instantaneous. It was just beautiful. And so she can join in. It's great. It just makes her part of the community, and that's all we wanted. She's got a quality of life now. She's got a purpose, she's got her friends, she's got, activities that she does, and not only family, but close friends and carers that they're not just carers, they're more friends of the family than carers really now. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Life's pretty good for her up here.
Things are travelling really, really smoothly at the moment, and Centacare has made that possible for us.